Hello, my beautiful internet people of the world. It's me, your favorite internet dom, Wisteria Ivy, and I'm here to bring you a little movie review. I rewatched this movie, so you don't have to, and you're welcome. Today we're going to be talking about 2011's Warner Brother DC movie, The Green Lantern. When I tell you that when I saw this movie I don't know when it came out in 2011, so it's almost 10 years old if it's not already 10 years old. But when I went to go see this movie in theaters, I remember thinking, well, that wasn't the greatest movie ever. And then I saw it a second time because my friends wanted to rewatch it, and I was just hanging out with friends. So I was like, hell, let's go watch it a second time. And I remember it sucking even more the second time. Well, now I watched it a third time, and let me just say, this movie probably never should have been made. Let's just start by saying that. Okay, so the beginning of the movie, you get a very small backstory on the Green Lantern Corporation, which is just like basically like, oh, we use the power of will and our enemy is the power of fear, and we tried to harness the power of fear, but it ended up blowing up in our faces, and whatever, or Sarlax or whatever was the person who actually tried to harness it, got banished and imprisoned because he was trying to use the power of fear when their power is the power of will, like I said already. So here's the thing. Then once you get past like this weird like backstory from the movie, you skip forward to these three alien explorers who just so happen to find their way onto this abandoned, forgotten about planet that Parallax, the bad guy, just so happened to be imprisoned on. So he turns their fear against them and basically eats them, for lack of a better terminology, statement. And then just is able to finally escape because he was able to regain enough power to escape, I guess. Then we have this random jump to 6 months later, where you get the fight between Parallax and a alien Green Lantern, though just so happens to be the same one who defeated him initially and imprisoned him. He gravely injures the dude. The Green Lantern gets into an escape pod and heads to the nearest habitable planet. And can anyone guess, for extra brownie points, where the next habitable planet just so happens to be? Earth. So let's see. I'm looking at my notes so I can remember exactly what happened, because honestly I put this movie out of my mind. So then you get to Hal Jordan, okay? He wakes up from sleep. There's some rando woman in his bed. She tells him, hey, just so you know, girlfriend, there's like milk or something in the whatever that thing's called. Oh yeah, a refrigerator. So help yourself. Because he's late for work. His alarm went off and I guess he's late for work. He's driving there like a freaking maniac, trying to wrap this box with newspaper, and almost dies. Finally gets there, getting up into the sky after he has this really weird, like very sexual conversation with Blake Lively's character, where you realize when listening to this argument conversation that they must have had some type of relationship, even if it was just, friends who bumped uglies every once in a while. So they get up into the air to have a simulated air combat with AI planes. So he's being hounded by these two airplanes, and he says to Blake Lively's character, hey, come help me, like, we need to work together to defeat them. And then she's able to get them off of his tail. What is happening with this thing today? Hold on one second. We're just going to jam that. Okay. Am I beautiful again? Sacrifices her after he just said, hey girl, let's work together. Let's use the power of teamwork in order to beat these AIs. But then, like, sacrifices her. And to defeat the AIs, goes above 50,000 feet to stall them out and himself. Whereas when they're spiraling down to the ground, is able to take them out. Now, here's the thing. For some reason, as he's crashing to the ground himself, he has this random, like, moment where he chokes and freezes, but also has a flashback of his father's crash, which happened when he was a very young child. No pretense of like, oh, Hal, are you sure you can get up into this plane and fly this test today? Because you've been having issues with flying lately, like you've been choking. Nothing like that. It's just, he starts choking and having like a flashback of his father's crash. Which was also weird because his father started having mechanical failure, was able to land the sparking and doing weird things plane, whereas literally he's getting out to go greet his son, it explodes. Okay? So we're going to flash forward a little bit, because if I don't, this whole thing that like I'm having an issue with is going to take forever. My issue with that particular scene, though, before I move on, is just that there was no pretext. There was no, like, not even when Blake Lively's character was chewing him out, like, dude, why are you so late for work? Did she say, oh, are you prepared to get up in the plane because you've been choking? Like, no previous explanation, no nothing. It's just, and then he tried to blame it on mechanical failure after he crashed a brand new damn plane. Anyway. So then we're back to the alien who did a soft crash, I say. Like, he just so happened to, like, I think the only thing that got destroyed in his crash, I want to say, was, like, a pier to a marina. And that was it. I'm like, wow. You're hurtling towards the nearest planet, gravely injured, and you just so happen to just crash into a dock? Sure. And then it shows you that where he's talking to the ring to find the next person, the scream orb comes out and flies off. Then you go to this random nephew's party, call back to that present that he was hazardously wrapping in the car, and he gives it to his nephew, tells his nephew, oh, I'm not afraid of anything, because of course his nephew says, are you ever afraid? He's like, no, I'm never afraid of anything, you little tiny person, you. How dare you? I'm fab. I'm skinny. I'm rich. And you know the rest. I made a little note that the movie at this point is all over the place. Abin Sur was the alien who defeated Parallax originally. I don't know why I realized that I should make that apparent later, but maybe it's because I didn't really hear his name until later, until like 20 minutes into the freaking movie. So let's see. Movies all over the place. There's overacting. Sinestro, another character, conflicts the council. It's just Hal gets the ring. Hal basically halfway learns how to control the ring, but then later ends up being like the strongest Green Lantern that the Green Lantern Corps ever did when he finally defeats Parallax, or whatever the hell his name is. We're just going to call him the Fear Demon. It's just, God, all over the place. And you have to keep in mind, most of my issues with the movie just keep going on between, like, the scientist who does the autopsy on Abensor, the alien that crashed, and gets infected with the power of fear, to, like, when Hal Jordan saves Blake Lively from being crushed, takes her back to her place, and she immediately realizes it's him. Although, with that being said, that is the one part of the movie that I was like, yeah, I can totally get behind this, because she was like, yeah, bitch, I can totally realize it's you. I wasn't born yesterday. My eyes are perfectly fine. I mean, hello. I'm an Air Force pilot. My eyes have to be fine. So yeah, some light contacts and a little green mask are not going to keep me from recognizing someone that I've literally bumped uglies with. Totes. So, I feel like I could have made this movie better. And that's saying something. Like, it would have been a total spoof, but I could have made it better. Like, at least it would have been, like, funny. Because there were moments where you could tell that they were trying to be funny and be lighthearted, but it weirdly felt forced. And just like, oh, well, we're just going to randomly add this here. I'm just going to tug up my lower lash because it's doing something weird. There we go. There was a good point that I made where, the alien. I'll get back to the alien for a second. Because God knows this movie was all over the place, so I get to be all over the place. When the alien, Abensor, got initially attacked, he was bleeding red. Which was one of the things that I literally started bitching about. I was like, okay, this is an alien. Why would they give an alien red blood? Like, were they just not creative? But then when Hal Jordan finds him, is brought to the crash by that green glowing orb that I told you about that came out of the ring, he was bleeding purple. So I'm like, okay, I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt and be like, well, maybe I missaw things. Maybe I mistook red for purple. But no, I rewound the movie to when the alien got initially attacked and was like, oh, no, there is red blood here. But then at the crash, it's purple. Continuity. Oh God. You know, and then some nerd who did an autopsy, like I said, got infected. He becomes a lesser bad guy who Hal eventually has to, you know, defeat because he's trying to, like, infect Hal's girlfriend and make him like her, or make her like him. You know, it's, God. The whole movie is all over the place and just a giant joke. It doesn't hold up, because even though I thought it was bad originally when I saw the movie, rewatching it now, I was like, okay, the only thing that was pretty good about this movie were the graphics for 2011. Like, they still pretty hold up to today, not like today's standards. I wouldn't say exactly, like, they're not that great, but they're pretty, they stand up. They're still pretty good. Weird writing and overacting, like, there's a lot of times where you basically saw people like, oh my God, no, don't kill me. Although it was like, not quite as monotone like that. They were literally like, oh God, I'm ugly crying so you can't kill me. Don't kill me. And it was just so much. And you could tell that even the actors weren't really taking it seriously. Like, it's almost like they were like, well, we're just doing this to get a paycheck. It's a passion project. It's not a passion project. It's just a paycheck at the end of the day. So, then there's, like, a cinematic ending. Okay? Which felt really forced and just really overdone. where they literally just show you that Sinestro, Hal's mentor, becomes a Yellow Lantern, which literally just means that he takes on a yellow power ring, which is fear. So after all of that, after all that Hal did, I mean, I knew Sinestro was going to become a villain, but still, back. After all that, after all Hal literally did to save his entire planet by himself with the power of will, which is what the Green Lanterns use, Sinestro was still like, no sis, I'm just gonna put on this like yellow ring of power and use fear now, cause yeah, it's like they did that scene as an afterthought. To me, if they had done it so like he was corrupted by Sarlacc, the fear demon dude. If he was like corrupted by him, and that was the reason he made the yellow ring and did all that, no, he made the ring to just try to fight fire with fire. And then when Hal Jordan defeated the dude with a will, he still put it on and became... That's my whole point, though. It became very, very forced. It was just... Oh, God. It was so bad. So bad. So I gave it a 3.5 out of 10. Which means that basically the movie wasn't the absolute worst movie I've ever seen. But it's terrible, and I don't plan on watching it again. And I hope that you don't feel the need to watch it again, because it's bad. It's not good. Don't do it. Thank you all for taking the time to watch. Thank you all for taking the time to like this video. Thank you all for taking the time to subscribe to my channel, because I'm better than you.